Hey, how are you doing, guys? Hope you are doing well. Don't know what's going on with my webcam, but it's kind of choppy right now. It's looking kind of weird at the moment, but anyways. Hope you're doing well. I'm gonna decrease the music a bit high. Let's activate the LED. It's not activating for whatever reason. Give me a sec. Here we go. I have to repair my LED strip. That's with the overall theme of the day. Hope you're doing well, guys. If it was possible, I would put the Doom Eternal soundtrack right now for the entire stream, but it would not be possible to speak properly on top of it. This is a completely improvised stream. I have no notes because I hadn't the time to take some. And this is perfectly within the theme of today. Today, I'm talking about those months when everything and everyone sucks. Every fucking thing sucks. Whew. Here's the story. I got some webinars during the entire month. This month, so I'm kind of tired because it was during the night. I had one webinar every day between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. and one webinar every night from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. for 1 month. So I'm a bit tired. And whatever for the glasses. And so I'm pretty tired. I woke up today kind of late because I wanted to rest because it's over now. And I got some feedback from the client I'm currently working with. I was thinking I was done with the piece. Because yesterday was like, thank you, that's good. And today they sent me a fuck ton of feedback. Like, what the hell, dude? And I'm not gonna name that client. I'm not here to complain. Just that I'm engaged for that client for still few weeks. I need to go through that shit. But every time this happens, I'm like cursing the client. It's like, what a fucking waste of time. And it doesn't motivate me at all to work on their work, so they are not happy. But I would argue that first they would need to send proper feedbacks. Yeah, you need to ask if the project is done. There are some weird clients. I won't name them. I don't want to badmouth them. Not to yell about the industry, but these clients. If you ever encounter them, I would strongly advise you to avoid them, to be honest. I don't care. I've never seen anyone happy with them. And yeah, got tricked once during the summer. I had to work for them for like 2 or 3 months, and it destroyed my sleep. And I was thinking I was able to protect myself now again, and ended up that it's not the case. I'm kind of cursing them because it's like, what a fucking waste of time. Please do feedbacks in more than 5 seconds. Write properly in English, please. Do something with your paint over and stuff like that. So this inspired today's stream. I was pissed at waking up and seeing that, and I'm like, holy shit, here we go again. So let's talk about what to do when everything sucks. It might be a different situation. It might be you. Maybe you are currently working at the grocery store to finance your studies, or doing some shitty summer jobs to pay your loans, or you are still doing your old job and eager to transition from your shitty job to artist, or else you're working with clients that you fucking hate and you are eager to work for other ones. Because that's my case. I'm working with them because I'm engaged, because whatever, for whatever reason, that's the client of the month. I've done 3 interviews this month, I'm waiting for the 3 answers. One of them seems to be more positive than the other ones, and probably more reliable. So yeah, finger crossed. Got a fantastic interview yesterday, and I'm waiting for that. And it makes this current client even worse, to be honest, in comparison. The problem is that I don't have that client. There's no guarantee that it accepts, even though it seems positive. So you have to suck it up. And I'm pretty sure that even as a student, it was definitely the case for me, but I'm pretty sure it's the same for you. There are a lot of moments when you're like, I should fucking give up. I just want to go to sleep. Don't want to work countless hours during the night. I'm tired. It's painful. Let me deactivate my LED. It's buggy. And yeah, you're just about to give up. Because it's tired, because you are tired, you are pissed, you're frustrated. It's painful, it's something that you don't like to do. It happens a lot of time when you are at school. You are doing some subjects that are probably sometimes not inspiring you. And this is fine. This is perfectly fine. And there are 2 things I would like to talk about that. That feeling that it's not worth it. You're wasting your time, you would be better elsewhere, stuff like that. There are several different cases. Some where you are doing what you want and you are achieving your goals. It's hard. But other ones where you feel like you are really wasting your time and for whatever reason you need to stick to it. I think there are 2 ways to use that anger. The first way would be to scream about it and rant about that. It's not really useful. The second one is to turn that suckiness into energy. It's not the safest way to work. It's going back to we are either running away from pain or moving towards pleasure. And if you can convert all that frustration, all of that anger that we have towards our current situation, it might be a shitty job. In my case, it's like a shitty client right now. It can be because your subject is hard. It's not your favorite subject. Or late on your homework. You're uninspired, stuff like that. So if you scream about that, that's useless. But. If you manage to channel that towards the running away from stuff, running away from pain, it's a good way. Basically, you need to use that as a fuel. You need to remember all that frustration that you feel right now, all that anger, all that pain, that tiredness that you have. And you have different ways to hack yourself. The first way would be to tell you never again. And I'm gonna give myself the mean progressively over time to definitely get rid of that. That's the one I'm using right now with this client. It's like this year, this is one of my main goals. I'm swearing that this year I'm ditching that client. I will be able to ditch that client without looking back. For now, I'm keeping it just in case I have some moments where there is a little bit less work. That's why I'm keeping them. That's the only reason. For now, it was this month of January and early February is a bit empty. I have more stuff coming later. But for now, it's a bit empty, so I took them. And as always, like a big, it feels like a big mistake. And this year, it's like this year, one of my objectives is to ditch them and never look back. I was already telling me that this summer. I'm coming back to them because sometimes there are some empty moments. I don't know what my cat is doing. Give me just a sec. They drop something. It's a bad day today. And what is... Anyways. It's a bad day today. Monday's meeting went super well. So yeah, waiting for some news within few days, maximum 2 weeks. But it's like my best option right now that I would be betting on. It will be the absolute best. Lot of work, paid very well, lot of free time, and I would be able to manage people. This would be perfect. That's why in comparison it sucks even more to work with those shitty clients right now. It's not a big company, it's a startup, so whatever. I'm not shitting on the industry, just on this specific company that manage people very badly. And when you go on Glassdoor, you see that everyone is pissed at them. Absolutely everyone is pissed at them at Glassdoor. Everyone is saying it's like, yeah, it's like a junior trap, they are paying shit, they have a huge crunch culture and stuff like that, so whatever. Don't say the name. It's not a famous company. They are not even developing games, they are just doing some outsourcing. It was not about GMing, but I had to show some of my GM stuff, yeah. Because I'm not able to talk about the project, it's under NDA, but the GMing skills would be necessary. So, all that suckiness, you channel that and you tell yourself never again. You motivate yourself to run away from that. You remember that pain, you kind of embrace that, you feel it completely, just in order for you to get disgusted by it. To feel the dissatisfaction. So every time you are dissatisfied with something, just stop. Do a bit of introspection and figure out what you are feeling right now. And remember that feeling. Maybe it's a tightness in the chest. Maybe it's your gut getting tight. I mean, it's like my teeth are clenching. I'm angry. I'm very angry. When I'm feeling like I'm wasting my time, and when I'm feeling that someone else is wasting my time. Because those feedbacks, the problem is like, it's like one line, it's like one line or two, no overpaint, playing with us. It's like, make the rocks better. Nani? Okay, explain that to me. If you explain that to me, that's good. But make the rocks better, or more reflection in that place. What does that mean? Just do a simple paint over. I don't care if it looks like shit, but just a simple paint over to illustrate what you want. Not just a screenshot of the picture from Skype. Make this better. No. Because if the client spends 5 seconds providing you feedback, the problem is that you are wasting a fuck ton of time trying to figure out what they want. So they are wasting your time. By spending more time, they will help you save your time, and so they will save their time too. That's not how they want to feel. They don't want to think like that. So I'm very angry when someone is wasting my time. So this feeling, you think about it, you embrace that shit. You tell yourself never again. If that's frustration, maybe someone told you, and you are bad, you're not aware. Again, remember that. Never again. I'm gonna prove that motherfucker that I can do better. That's exactly what's happened in Naruto, for example. Like the main character got rejected and stuff like that. And he's feeling that, and he's like, never again, I'm gonna get accepted. In order to never get rejected. He's pretending to move towards becoming the village chieftain. But in fact, he's running away from being rejected. How they should give feedback? There's not a perfect way to send feedback. It will always depend on any art director or company. I can tell you how to not send feedback. Just one line of explanation. No paint over, playing riddles with you, vague terms. Like, make the rocks better. No. Make the rock feel more consistent with more sharpness. Here is a shitty painter done in 5 seconds to explain you how to do it. Here is a reference. Simple as that. Just make sure that a 6-year-old will understand the feedback. That you don't have to play guesswork. That's as simple as that. You don't have to explain everything and do it by hand, but I greatly appreciate when there is paint over. If the client that you're working with is just a person, not a company, and they don't know how to draw, just ask them to send you some references for the style, for the colors, for the mood. They tell you basically steal the colors from this picture, steal the style from this one, and stuff like that. And you are basically helping them figure out what they want, so you don't have to guess for them. As simple as that. I'm gonna clip that. I think I clipped it. Can someone clip it, please? So yeah, it's all about running away from something. You need to be very careful though, because it might be a very powerful energy when you start with that. Again, we want to move away from pain more than running towards pleasure. Once you manage to distance yourself from that pain source, once you are kind of safe, you absolutely need at some point to realize that you don't need that toxicity anymore. It's very important because sometimes, even when the problem is fixed, you keep thinking, I need to move away from that. And in some ways, by thinking all the time about that, it's like becoming a belief system that it's always the case. Like let's say you have a slave job, you want to move away from that, even if you are making a shit ton of money, you are like, I don't want to get back as a slave job. No, you won't. You escape that, you escape the right race. But because you are always running away from that, even if it doesn't exist anymore for you, this tells a lot about you believing that you still should have a slave job, that you are still in that situation. In other terms, you are still believing that you are not safe. The problem is that at some point it will limit you. And worst case scenario, at some point, you might be in a situation where there's some kind of cognitive dissonance. You are safe. Inside you feel you are not. So basically, every time something would go good, you would think that's not normal. It should go badly. See what I mean? Something my mentor told me a few weeks ago about something similar was basically when you are running away from something, it might be very powerful, but it's like in those MMOs and RPG and video games, when you are using an ability that will buff yourself, make you stronger, but it's slowly decreasing your life. Because basically you are using that kind of poison. You feel the burn all the time. You burn yourself a bit just to move faster. The problem is that you are still burning yourself. And at some point, once you are safe, once at some point you need to acknowledge that you are safe. You need to find a way. Thank you, Eddie, of course, for the following, buddy. Thank you so much. Welcome. It's the red buff. You absolutely need to crush that false belief. It's not relevant anymore. It's not helping you. And more than that, it's still low standards now that you are above that. So you need to remember about the 10x rule. If your goal is surpassed, you need to aim even higher. You have surpassed your goal. You have escaped it. Now you need to get rid of that and aim for something bigger. That's when you are starting to run towards something. Hello, Eddie. Do we know each other? Or are you brand new to the stream? Nice to see you. But that cognitive dissonance is very important. Okay, welcome. How did you discover the stream? Oh, he's a friend of Sweetie. Okay, nice to see you. The cognitive dissonance of when you achieve something and you still think that you are lower than that, it's very important because the brain doesn't like at all contradictions. And generally, the brain tends to prefer to be right than do the right thing. So if you want to be right with that cognitive dissonance, you will in some way manufacture ways for you not to be safe. Oh, Ed and Eddie. Oh my god. That's old. I was a kid watching Cartoon Network. And this belief happens a lot of the time. For example, there's a lot of people, they are becoming very successful money-wise, for example. They still think that they are poor. You have some millionaires with poverty mindset. Same with artists. You have some artists that are incredibly good and still have imposter syndrome, while being extremely good. And the problem with that is that it will limit your evolution. The problem with that belief is that as you acknowledge that it helped you in the past, it helped you move away from something and reach some greater standards. The problem is that you tend to be reluctant to let it go. You tend to think, if I let that go, I won't have any fuel left in my engine to move forward. And this thing is very important. And this is why there was the comparison of the red buff. Like, okay, you are stronger, but it's narrowing slowly but surely your health bar. That's something very important. Generally, when you crush a false belief, something toxic, when you remove it, you don't have to replace it with anything, because automatically your brain and you're going to fill that void with what you want. You're still driven to fixing problems, basically. And every time there is something empty, we fill that void. Basically, it's like you see some people, when they have a tumor or stuff like that, it's something that is part of them. At least tricking the body and the brain to think it's part of the body. That's why the immune system is not attacking that shit. And when you get rid of that, a lot of people feel that something is missing. It's still better than having a fucking 1.5 kilo tumor in your body. That's exactly the same. It's like a parasite. And every time you get rid of that, you feel like a 100-pound sandbag is basically lifted off your shoulder, and you will feel better thanks to that. And now you can finally move towards something. Hello, buddy. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Jean-Paul. Nice to see you. So that's the first part, running away from something. This is very hard. Now, moving towards something. Moving towards something is kind of harder because you don't have this urgency of fixing the problem. When you have a problem, when you want to run away from something, it's like fire up your ass. It's tangible. You can see that. You can feel that. You can feel the dread feeling. You can feel that stress and anger all the time. So it's kind of easier to feel. When there's no threat, that's when, if you want to achieve something and move towards something, you need to apply the 10x rule that we talked about. Because there is no threat that is tangible enough and to motivate you to move forward, the 10x rule with that 10x goal and that 10x reward should be not tangible, but motivating enough for you to pursue that. So now back on running away from something when everything sucks, you're about to give up and you feel it's too hard. I hate that. I want to quit. The problem is that if you quit, it will compound over worse and worse and worse and worse. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a homework for that you have to deliver within 5 days. It's stressing you, so you procrastinate. And eventually you only have 1 day remaining. You have done nothing. All the stress. First of all, we now at you because we know, hey, I have this thing to deliver. It's a tiny voice in your head. I have this to deliver within 5 days. I'm not working in that. Hurry up, buddy. Hurry up, hurry up. You can't lie to yourself about that. You can try to bury your hand in the sand by procrastinating, as we talked about. The problem is that at some point you will reach a breaking point, and that's basically when you are doing all the work while crying. When there is something that you hate, that you really want to get rid of, the only solution that you have is to brute force through it. You need to brute force through it. It's basically that comparison of, let's say your house is on fire. I'm not wishing that to anyone. Let's imagine that we are in a house, it's on fire. The entrance door is open. We just have one corridor to cross and we are safe. The house is about to crumble, to collapse. The corridor is on fire. You have two options. You either get paralyzed, the house will collapse on you. Or else you can run through those flames. You would burn yourself, it would suck, but at least you would be alive. So, the only way to escape something that sucks by brute forcing through it is basically, even if you are tired, you work even more. It might not be working on that thing that sucks, especially. It might be also working on your escape plan, on your plan B. Let me give you some examples that are personal. Let's move to the most recent one, the shitty client one. It's motivating so much right now to send some resume and application to everyone. Especially the GameFi related ones. So gaming plus crypto. But basically sending resume to everyone. Tomorrow, I'm gonna have a night of sleep tonight. I need it. But tomorrow, right in the morning, 9 to 1 p.m., I'm sending resume every fucking where. Because in my mind, I'm like, nothing can be worse than that shitty client. Nothing. So why not? Why not? It's taking time. I hate to set applications to make some cover letters and stuff like that. I have to do that. Second thing I'm doing, I will be doing it right after the stream, is basically to keep working on my mentorship, to start the marketing and stuff like that. I would review all the Twitch clip too for social medias. I haven't done that yet. I will review the clips because I know that the only missing part for that is the marketing. Once the marketing is sold, I know that my product will sell. And I know that my biggest escape, to escape those shitty clients, to reach better financial security, better way of living, is by following the different commands that we talked about. Commandment of entry, commandment of need, commandment of control, commandment of time, stuff like that. Oh, Jeremy, what are you doing, buddy? That's an example. When you are at school, Generally, that's a different problem. Let's say you are struggling on one specific subject. You have two options. You can either brute force through it, which you should do. You should always do your best to deliver the best work as possible. But if you know that you are trapped in that field, it might be a bit early for the first year, but second, third year at school, you might start to discover that something are not for you. Not because you are bad, but it's not connected to your brain properly. It's not something that talks to you. In that case, I'm not saying to abandon that thing that you don't like. Do not do that, especially at school, because it will bite you in the ass. But you need to manage to brute force through more time in order to work on your escape way. Let's say you are in the second year of school. You know that 3D is not for you. You still do your best. Once the exercise is done, try every day to have at least 1 or 2 hours to work 2D or VFX or whatever you think you want to do. But basically, when you are tired of something, you need to spend extra time to work on this escape plan. And this escape plan is very important for 2 reasons. First one, it's going to give you a light at the end of the tunnel. And the more it's starting to take shape, the more it will give you hope. Not hope like, I'm hoping that the stock market doesn't collapse in 60 years. No. Just hope that in the sense there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I know where I'm going. Instead of hope, you can replace that by goal, destination, whatever. And at least now you have something in your visor that you are running towards. The more you work, the more it's motivating you because you are getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And you know that at some point it will pay off. And the second part is that because it's something that you like, because technically it's something you have mastery on, and also because it's something that is giving you light at the end of the tunnel, technically even if you are exhausted, it should allow you to rest by working on that. Yeah, the tunnel is very hard, but you have 2 choices. It's like this corridor in flames that we mentioned. You either do nothing when it's going to collapse on you, or you brute force through it. You hurt yourself, there might be vines and flames and whatever shit. It's still better than getting collapsed under the tunnel. I'm gonna join the Discord, by the way. Completely forgot. But this is super important. But the main point is that it will relax you. Especially as artists. Generally, unless you're doing a very physical job like holding some stuff, moving object all day long, generally we are not that much tired physically because we had an entire day just sitting in front of a computer doing basically clicks. But we are very tired mentally. And you have 2 options to rest mentally. It's either to shut down your brain. Those would win, exactly. It's either to shut down your brain. There are different ways. There might be meditation, hypnosis. Sleep doesn't work. Sleep doesn't fucking work. If your brain is hyperactive, you won't be able to sleep well. And everyone, put a 1 in the chat. I'm gonna lead the charge. Put a 1 in the chat if when you are overwhelmed with homeworks and stuff like that, when you go to sleep, you can't shut down your brain and you keep thinking about that and even dreaming about that. Sleep is not a good solution to fix stress. Because what we are talking right now is stress. Sherry Crooks, welcome, buddy. We have 12 viewers. Oh my god. And yeah, when something sucks, when you are overwhelmed by something that sucks, sleeping, of course you should always sleep. Always, 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 no problem. But sleeping won't fix your stress issue. It will just rest your body. But sleep can exhaust your fucking mind. Every time I'm overwhelmed, I can't shut down my brain. I go to sleep. When I'm waking up, I'm even more stressed and more tired than before. because I have thought about that all night long. Nevcherry, yeah, I got my interview yesterday. It went super well. I'm waiting for an answer within 2 weeks. The TLDR is that they told me, currently we don't have a position for what you are offering, but let me establish a profile for that. See with the team if we can create one right now. And I'm coming back to you within less than 2 weeks to talk about that and how we can figure that out. But I've already laid out a pretty bare minimum salary that is pretty good because it's after taxes. So technically it's just crossing the fingers now. There's nothing else I can do. Just crossing the fingers and hoping that it goes well. But hope is a shitty plan, so I'm not betting everything on that. So, stress, mental fatigue. 2 ways to alleviate that. Either you shut off your brain completely. You can do that with meditation, hypnosis, different relaxation methods. You can also do that by doing a very physical activity. That's something I noticed when I started going to the gym. In order to rest your brain, you lift heavy stuff. You exhaust yourself physically, and you basically for 2 hours, you don't think about that shit. You're just focused on that fucking 150-pound bench press that you have that is about to collapse on you and crush you. You're like, ugh! You don't have time to think about that shit. It's relaxing you this way. The second way that is even better, don't skip the gym, of course. If you can do both, that's even better. The second way you can do in order to alleviate that pain is to work on hopeful and relaxing and energizing thing. And if you're working on what you are a master of or what you want to master, if it's giving you hope, this light at the end of the tunnel, this is relaxing you no matter how hard it is. I'm currently listening to a book series called .com Secret, Expert Secret, and Traffic Secret. This is basically the online marketing secret weapon. This is something I'm not used to at all. I'm a full-blown introvert, so social media is a mystery for me. And this is freaking hard, but at the same time, this is such a powerful tool. It's fascinating. And I don't want to end the stream right now, but I know that as soon as I ended the stream, I'm going to fire up my Obsidian and take a shit ton of notes. Because I know this is the only missing part I have. Any meditation tips course you recommend didn't get to stay focused for more than 8 minutes before bed? I have some. Unfortunately, I cannot share them. Give me a sec. I'm gonna search for that on YouTube. I'm not going to dox myself on the stream. Hit me with a message on Discord, please. I'm gonna send you a link. I'm gonna just ask you to not share it, please. It's a YouTube link, but I don't want to dox this person or to dox myself publicly. But send me a message. I'm gonna send you to someone. It's the guy who I did the hypnosis with. There are two guys. They are more specialized into helping men, but they have some women clients, and so there's no problem about that. And what they are talking about is probably applicable to regardless of what's between your legs. so of whoever you are. So that's not a problem, but it's just that I don't want to dox that person, or to dox myself associated with that person in public. So I'm trusting you with that. But this guy is having a lot of videos and meditations about that. And my meditation session, guided hypnosis session that I do and that I have, and every time I do one, I'm falling like a brick in my bed. Then I'm absolutely KO. The only thing is that this guy is sending those recordings to you only if you do a session with him. It's like a maintenance tool. But in his different interviews, there are different ones. He's explaining to you where to find those different resources, and he's calling some names about that. About a girl that has a YouTube channel. I need to find it back. But in one of the videos I'm gonna send you, he's going to tell that name. I don't remember about it. And you can see her, and she has a lot of recordings both on YouTube and under a paywall if you want. And the guy I'm gonna send you, I entirely vouch for you. I trust this guy with my life. I fucking trust this guy with my life. But for meditation, for meditation and stuff like that in general, it's like a muscle. The more you do it, the more you get used to that. At the beginning, it might be hard because you might be breaking out of it. You might be a bit distracted. But at some point, it's like a muscle. You train, and eventually you are able to remain for maybe 10 minutes, then 20 minutes, then 30, then whatever you want. The session I did with this guy lasted for 5.5 hours. For 5.5 hours, I was like this, hypnotized, crying most of the time. But I didn't break for 5 hours with him. Yeah, for relaxation, we all have our small soothing niches too. Yeah. The problem with 30-day challenge is that you couldn't... If you break, it's very hard to come back, of course. Yeah, about relaxing stuff. It might be soothing, it might help you to cope a bit more. It's not fixing the problem though, but it might definitely help. What I like is like... it's a website called asoftmurmur.com. Let me share my screen. I like this website because basically you can have some mixes of sounds and stuff like that. You probably won't hear about it. And I have mine called Skyrim. And it's basically rain, thunder, a bit of water, birds, fireplace. It reminds me a lot of River Road in Skyrim. So I tend to like that. We all have some soothing stuff, but I won't be able to recommend many different ones. I know that going to the gym is working very well with me, and brute forcing through something that represents my escape is probably the best way for me to get relaxed. It's very counterintuitive because when you are tired, you just don't want to walk more. That's how you should treat that. Hello guys, how are you doing?
Hey Tim, I'm doing great, man. I'm working on my concept art project and I'm listening, and it's really nice. It's really cool to be here.
Cool.
The program that you mentioned, it's really cool. I also have to check it out. It also reminds me of there's a method of falling in this state of relaxation. People recommend ASMR and apparently that works. Have you listened to ASMR?
If by ASMR you are mentioning like mouth noises and stuff like that, it just makes me want to kill someone.
No, not that. It's more like object, tappings and sort of sound effects. Like ambient noise effects. So
Yeah. I'm not very susceptible to that. The only kind of ASMR that I kind of enjoy, it's like someone typing on a nice keyboard, not on a potato scratching one. But that's just because I'm a nerd fan of mechanical keyboards, I guess.
mechanical keyboards, yeah.
But yeah, ASMR is not that much my thing. I'm very sensitive with my ear personally, so I tend to not really like that.
Yeah.
But if it works for you, yeah, good on you, I guess. But Noisely is very good. Huh? Noisely is very cool.
Yeah. For me, it's ambient sound effects, so that
Yeah.
really relaxes me. And I also noticed when I listen to ambient music, that also relaxes me, and it also makes me more productive.
Oh yeah.
So there's something with repeating noises without any lyrics, without anyone,
Yeah.
talking, stuff like that. It
Yeah.
sort of switches your brain off, and your brain enters in a flow state.
Yeah.
And there's a wiki page about entering the flow, and that's really that's
Yeah.
when you become 110% more productive. You basically become apex, you go
Yeah.
apex mode and do a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
which is really cool.
If you want some ambient music with some kind of repeating sounds and very cool music, I have 3 bands. One is called Pincé. I'm sharing that on the screen right now.
Yeah, let me just find it on
Spotify. I'm gonna share that on Spotify right now in the music. The first one is Pensé. It's like a Russian artist, and it's electronic ambient, very, very minimalistic, and it's kind of, there's a lot of noises behind. The second one is called Filian, and same is putting a lot of noises behind, like some keychains, some coins dropping and stuff like that. It's very weird, but the music is very elegant and very relaxing.
Yeah, remember that.
I'm always sharing this album called Quadrivium, but it's like the ultimate musical ASMR in my opinion.
Let's go.
And the last one, it's a French one. It's called Au Coeur. And this guy, especially the album called A Parallel Life, especially if you are like a night owl or something like that, you're walking very late at night, listen to that when everyone is sleeping. It's magical, buddy. It's absolutely magical.
Oh, shucks.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, this entire stream, we could stop it almost right now, but in terms of subject, but it's basically when there is something that sucks, like really, and it's compounding, and you cannot really escape it for now, because you will have to walk your way outside of it. Just find a way to every day focus a bit on your escape plan. You see, it's like in those movies when someone is trying to break out of jail. Every day at night they are working on digging the hole in the wall, stuff like that, because it's giving them hope. It's exactly the same when something sucks. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It was a very simple stream. Now if someone has questions, want to discuss about some stuff, I still have like 30 minutes available if needs be. Yeah, there are plenty of examples that I have about that. With my shitty client, it was the example. The previous one was when I was stuck at my mom's home back in 2020. I told that in my backstory, I guess. But basically, back from Ubisoft in 2018, I had a few months back at my parents' home. I turned to Compound over a bit more time till 2019. 2019, I moved to Paris to work at Quantic Dream. Then back from Quantic Dream, I got stuck at the end of 2019 and early 2020 back to my parents' home. And when I was about to get my new apartment in Lyon, there was the COVID and the lockdown that collapsed everything. I got stuck for the entire year of 2020 at my parents' home, and I was fucking pissed. So the only focus that I had at the time was just making more money and doing a bit of gym every day. It was the only focus because this was all that I could do. And I remember that before doing that, at the beginning of coding, I was feeling like shit. I was just playing video games. I was doing not that much. Then something snapped and I decided to ditch all of my games from my computer, to ditch all of my loser friends at the time, to just focus on that like a fucking hermit. And even though it was hard and painful and I was exhausted, at least I was just thinking about the idea of escaping that. It was as if it was already realized in my head. You see my point? It was basically by working with that, by working on that, by working on making more money, on crafting my tools to break free from that. It was just giving me hope. I was already imagining myself free in some ways. So it was making everything easier. It's like a positive feedback loop where the more you work, the more you see the light. The more you see the light, the more you want to work. And so on and so on and so on. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Anything else you want to talk about? This was a completely improvised stream, so I have no additional notes or stuff.
No, I quite understand the concept of using the brute force method, right?
Yeah.
You know, again, it's gonna sound cheesy, but you know, no pain, no gain, and it, you know, you always have to, you know, push forward and, you know,
Yeah, right.
endure the pain.
Yeah.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah, it was mainly about explaining that even if there is the no pain, no gain, there is light. I can say so. I don't want to sound esoteric, but there is a lot of hope and a lot of positive from the pain if you use that pain constructively towards something. See my point?
Yes, I see.
Cool.
And I guess being consistent is also important, right?
Oh
I
yes,
mean,
sticking to it. Yeah.
that's also important.
Yeah. This is why I think your escape, the escape key that you are crafting, basically whatever it is, it might not always be possible, of course. It might depend on a lot of factors, but if possible, if you can make that practice of it a non-negotiable every day for a fixed amount of time, it might be very, very beneficial to you eventually, because you're forcing the habit. For example, me with the marketing, I'm forcing myself to do 2 hours at least every day of it, of listening to the books and taking notes, and at the same time applying it to what I want to do. And regardless, even if it's like 2 a.m. and I should go to sleep, if I have not done 2 hours of that every day, I'm forcing myself to do it just for the sake of sticking to it. And also I'm doing that just before going to bed, because I would rather be obsessed and think about that during the night, because it's giving me positive vibes rather than dreading the next client feedbacks, basically. So I don't know if it would be possible to advise to do that practice just before going to bed, but I think in any case it's still better than being exposed to negativity just before going to bed. Hello Demo, how are you doing, buddy? So that's just my 2 cents about that. Anything else you would like to add? Oh, doing great, Demo. Doing great. We need to have a chat at some point, but it's been a while. When will you be available to have a chat, buddy? Yeah, that's going to be it, I guess. Everyone else in the chat having some stuff to say? Cool. Yeah, right before going to bed, so I can't forget about it. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Of course, going to the gym just before going to bed is a bit harder. It might not be the best idea because you're so pumped after that it's kind of hard to fall asleep. But
I just want to say, I guess if you invest at least, let's say, 20 minutes doing something, right? I mean, it depends on the activity, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
I really like that example that you mentioned, like the previous streams. You know, I'm just gonna open Photoshop and work, let's say, 20 minutes. It's really short amount of time, but once you start, get loose, start, sketching, get some ideas down, you sort of get interested. You want to do more and more, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a mind trick, so to say, but I guess it can be applied into that object, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
subject.
And that's something I would like to talk about, but we basically discussed the goal settings and it needs to be very high, but in terms of application, you need to start with basically that big goal. You need to break it and break it and break it and break it until the atomic level. Until you have something so small that it's not daunting to do. Because let's say that's exactly what happened with the gym, for example, when people are like, okay, I'm going to go on leg day, I'm going to bench press and squat maybe 200 pounds. It's so intimidating and you know you're going to suffer so much doing that it's discouraging you from doing it. And instead, if you just tell yourself, today's leg day, I'm not thinking about the program, but my goal is just to enter the gym, take on my clothes and put on the sport one and enter the gym. I'm free to walk away and get back home after. Right? It's just a good way to hack your thinking into... Basically, it forces you to commit without you even realizing it. Same with when you want to learn something. Let's say you want to learn a specific style that is completely out of your league and out of your comfort zone. Don't start with, I want to do a Jablonski painting right from the start.
Oh, yeah, man.
But it's more like, okay, I'm going to do a Jablonski character study. Something as simple as that. Or I'm gonna just paint something with its color, and you add something slowly but surely to it.
Yeah, budget edition, yeah.
Yeah. Always postpone leg day. Yeah.
No pain, no gain. Right? But yeah, true.
Anyways. Yeah, that's like the... Again, that's like the ultimate delay gratification.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know why you are doing that, and the entire message of the stream is that if something sucks, it's not always a bad thing. If you are using that towards something constructive and you are channeling all that suckiness, that hatred you have for that thing towards something better. I always gym after work. Just walking to the gym at minus 27 degrees Celsius, it's half the pain. Yeah. Yeah, that's why you are living in Canada, buddy. Love this country. You can add to the pain by taking a liquid nitrogen shower in the morning. For your breakfast, you have 12 eggshells. Not the eggs, just the eggshells. And just to start easy today, you do 5,000 push-ups and pull-ups. You sleep on no mattress, you sleep on the floor. Because otherwise you're not a gig at Chad. Need to hustle, bro. And that's the problem with all that hustle culture. That yeah, take cold shower, do the fucking work and stuff like that. Yeah, but you need to know why you are doing that, and you need to do it smart. Because if you work very hard on slave job, you'll become a master at slave jobs. So I would always advocate to work smart before working hard. I think that's Bill Gates that was saying that every time he had a very important task, he was giving that to someone that is lazy, because this person will find an easy and cheap way to make it. So yeah. Question for the chat. I'm gonna go back on books probably. Which kind of subject would you like the stream to talk about for this week? Do you have any idea or suggestion? Open to pretty much everything. Any suggestion? I think
I'm trying to. Oh.
Yeah, go on.
No, I'm trying to think of like important subjects. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, about let's say time, energy, productivity. I want to see something else, you know, outside of the general life, so to say. You know. So,
okay. How do you overcome procrastination and stay focused? We can redo a stream on it if you want, but there's multiple streams about that, I guess. Let me figure out which one it is. Procrastination is episode 11. But we can re-talk about that if you want. Productivity. What do you mean by productivity? Because for me, productivity is just overcoming procrastination in some ways. But we can re-talk about that if you want tomorrow, no problem. Let me check my my audiobooks. Because we talked about mastery, we talked about the 10x rules. We talked about scripted. There's a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen. It's called The Art of Stress-Free Productivity, but I have not listened to it yet. Life optimization. Okay. I'm not a life hacker or life expert. I'm far from being optimized, but we can figure out some stuff. No problem.
Can I give a suggestion? I don't know if
sure.
it's a book about human interaction. Something that can involve with emotions, you know, basically social intelligence, you know, the way to interact with people.
I have a lot of them, but if I'm talking about them on Twitch, I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get wrecked if I talk about that.
Oh, like in a bad way?
Yeah, in a very bad way, because this is very, very politically and socially incorrect.
Okay.
This really threatens the mainstream narrative. And if I'm talking about that, it's going to go against the grain of everything. Everything that is correct and this kind of new way of thinking in the 21st century, like differences between people, between sexes, gender and society, culture and stuff like that, it obliterates everything. Not because he wants to, but just because it's like, okay, we have the theory, what it is going in practice. In practice, we need to put a label on everything and put everything in a small box that is different from the others and treat that case by case instead of saying that everyone is the same. And this threatens this narrative so much that I'm pretty sure it's against the policy of Twitch, to be honest.
There's a streamer called Hassan. I don't know if you know him, but
not at all.
His stream is entirely based on politics and discussing with, about politics and making memes out of politics. But I don't think it's a safe zone to really talk about.
No. It's part of my chat policy to not talk about politics, religion, and stuff like that because it's too polarizing. And who am I to tell how it works? But at some point I might talk about them a bit later. It's probably going to be with in Discord and with some DMs that are properly catered and sent to one person at a time.
Okay.
Because these books are really, really. If you mention this kind of books, it puts a lot of stigmata to you in some way, and it's not that I don't like to talk about that, but it's basically bad for business. It's very bad for business.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I understand.
Paradox talk about storytelling.
Yeah,
I think it's
we can talk about that. No problem.
would be a nice
No
cool subject.
problem. We can talk about storytelling. I have an example about this kind of book. One day I mentioned a book called The Curse of High IQ by a guy called Aaron Clary. And when I mentioned that, I didn't know that this guy was that much attached to so many controversies. I hadn't done my research about the guy. And I was reading the book, and I still love that book, The Curse of High IQ. It's pretty cool, especially if you're on the intelligence side of the spectrum, which I'm assuming that pretty much everyone being an artist or watching this stream is. But this author is so against the narrative that you just type his name and it's like, whoa, is that public enemy number one? So I don't want to have diplomatic accident like that ever happening again. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. No, I quite understand. Yes, it's quite obvious.
Because even though some people are able to separate one author from what this person is producing, and maybe even if that person is controversial, there are still some gold nuggets that you can extract from their work. Most people on the internet cannot do that work. I think you can get a binary, and I don't want to be called Hitler or Nazi just because I shield a book by a very controversial person that I don't care about, to be honest. I just don't give a fuck about what they do in their life. Do you have something for once you understood, accepted that you don't want to be in the box, the process of getting out of it and not be affected by the realities that are inside the box and try to dang you back into it? Read Unscripted. Read it. Unscripted will help you a lot. I would also, knowing you, quote unquote, personally, the few that I know, I would also advise you to give a try at The Curse of High IQ by Aaron Clary. Regardless of who the person is, just take the book for what it is. I might advise you that. This might be good. But outside of that, my main tips is basically at some point, that's again going back on social intelligence, but that's to basically, as you are able to identify those people within the script, within the box, and you are outside of it, social intelligence will be you pretending to stay in the box. Not lying to them, but not exposing out of the box thoughts to people that are not prepared to receive them. It's very hard to say, and it's very hard to do because you have this kind of moral quandary on your shoulder. Like, am I lying to people? Am I playing a role? Am I wearing a mask? But we are all wearing masks all the time. I'm currently wearing the team streamer mask. It's not the team professional, team friend mask. It's not the same. But basically, it's like, yeah, play it safe. Just be the wolf in sheep's clothing. Even though it sounds kind of weird and probably dangerous, but just be the wolf in sheep's clothing. Basically, to live happy is to live hidden in some way. So yeah, protect yourself. And even though it's a bit of grieving to do, because you will tell yourself, hey, I cannot change those people and stuff like that. That's not your role to change them. Don't wish the world is better, wish you are better, and just focus on you And the good news about that is, oh, see you, Paradox. Have a nice day. Thanks for coming. But basically, a lot of people will challenge you for going outside of the box. We have seen that. There are still few people that are either willing to listen to you. In that case, they will ask you by themselves about that. The second option that is more prevalent is that once you reap the result, once you get results from you thinking outside the box, instead of being an outlier, you'll still be an outlier for a lot of people, but you might also become an inspiration for others. And those people that are getting inspired by you and asking you genuinely about what you think, this is your new tribe, basically. That's something my mentor is telling us all the time. It's like, it's very lonely at the top. It's very lonely at the top. So you need to accept that. It's not a bad thing. Something I talked about a lot previously, maybe not in stream, but I told it a lot to friends and such, is that it was just my opinion about loneliness. But for a lot of my life, I've been feeling very lonely because I was misunderstood, and I was thinking I was misunderstood and whatsoever. And in March, during the Corona crash, when I snapped and I decided to basically say fuck it to everything and to just seclude myself and focus on me and do the work on me and on my finance and on my work and everything, and just focus on me, not bothering and giving a single crap about anyone else aside from my family. Basically, separating myself from those fucking losers, people that were not thinking like me, were not bringing anything valuable to the table. At first, it was hard for me to accept the idea of separating myself. But almost immediately I realized that instead of being angry all the time, being frustrated with them, feeling misunderstood, feeling almost lonely because I'm the only one thinking like that, instead it was silence, it was calm, it was peace. There was a lot of space that could be taken by something productive. And in some ways, I stopped feeling lonely by getting rid of those people. I don't know if that makes sense. But this is what.
And then, yeah, I wanted to
Sure.
yeah, sometimes a bit like that. I believe in one point you are then you are able to meet people who kind of have the same sphere.
Oh
and
yeah.
the same thinking.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
honestly, I feel like this server is quite like that.
Yeah.
Everyone who has the same background, or everyone who has probably the same thinking, is reuniting here, and yeah, it's really enjoyable to meet people
Yeah,
like that.
we are building the tribe, basically. We are building a tribe. That's
so cool.
That's the thing that happened when I discovered my mentor in the community of other people getting mentored by him, and we are basically mentoring each other on a lot of stuff. I finally found my tribe of people that share the same point of view. Yeah, I was not feeling lonely anymore. And for example, on the server, Dixon is like my big brother, to be honest. He's part of that community too, and I'm so happy to have guys like that
Dixon is so nice
to talk to, because it makes you feel less alone. But yeah,
he has a really steady voice. It's
yeah.
really nice.
But basically, when you are surrounded by people that are not thinking like you feel like a fucking triangle in a world of circles.
Yeah, right.
That's why you are feeling alone.
Yeah, the form doesn't come along.
Yeah, it would be better to not be exposed to the fact that you don't fit the mold. So get rid of those people if you can. And if that's your parents, the problem is that, yeah, of course, it's a bit harder to stop caring about them. But there's always a way for you to establish healthy boundaries. Like, okay, now you are attempting to control me on these points. It's not working anymore. It's not that I don't love you. I still love you, mom. I still love you, dad, whatever. But now, about those points, I won't be listening to you, regardless of what you say. Because it's not me. It's not what I think about. I don't want to be mean to you. I don't want you to be sad. Of course, parents will be, and they will always play the victim. But it's part of growing up, I think, to establish healthy boundaries. And we don't have... It's not to shit on anyone's parents. I'm just taking mine as example. And I love my parents. I absolutely love my parents. But I don't want... I want to inherit from their good side. And the fact that my mom is very smart socially, very caring and benevolent and nice person. She's a healer and stuff like that. I want to benefit from my dad as being incredibly wise and hardworking. I want to benefit from my granddad for being like the pillar of my entire family. But I don't want to get the bad sides of my parents.
Yeah. Perhaps it's true, yeah, for everybody, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get the narcissism of my mom. I don't want to... I don't want to wait 50 years of my life like my dad to realize that what I'm doing is shit, that I need to change. I don't want to be a quote-unquote blue pill like my granddad, even though I love all of those people. I'm okay with those problems, but it's just that I don't want them to affect me. I'm always stating about my mom, for example, she's a very controlling person. She has a reason. She has been hurt pretty bad, explaining why she's acting like that, and I'm not mad at her. It's just that, like, mom, you're trying to control me on every aspect of my life. My friends, what I'm wearing, what I'm eating, how I sleep, what I'm seeing, my finance, stuff like that. Stop. Fucking stop. It's like, okay, I trust you for the clothes and stuff like that because you still know what I like, so that's fine on that point. But for you to tell me who I should be with, it's not okay. For you to tell me how to handle my finance, I'm sorry, but I made 5 times more money than you this year. So you are not in a position to tell me how to handle my finance.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of disagreements with that, especially in June related to crypto and stuff like that, for example. But eventually it was like, okay, you want me to do that? I want to do that. I will do it anyways, regardless of if you like it or not. And once I will have the result, I will come back to you and prove to you that it was right. Guess what? I got into Solana in June. Solana was $30. So no, not $30. I got it between 23 and $27. And in November, it went to $240. See, mom? Was a good idea, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
For crypto, you need to,
This is just an example. I'm not telling anyone to jump into Solana, especially right now. Okay, this is not financial advice. Don't buy Solana right now unless you know exactly what you're doing, okay?
Right.
This is a warning. This was just an example. But yeah, there are some stuff you just need to tell people around you. Hey, you might think this way, it's okay, but I'm not thinking this way. I'm gonna do that anyways. If I'm right, good on me, and I won't be the one to tell you I told you so. But if I'm wrong, I don't want you to tell me I told you so. That's as simple as that. I mean, that's not simple at all. That's not simple at all, but you get the idea. That's something that Tim Ferriss was saying. It's like hard choice, easy life. Easy choice, hard life. And getting closer or more distance to some of our closest person that we know is a very hard stuff to do, of course. It doesn't mean that you don't love them anymore, of course. It's just that yeah, part of becoming an adult is to learn how to fly with your own wings, basically. Not to rely on them. And I'm a very strong believer of generational transmission. And a lot of people are inheriting a lot of traits from their parents, who inherited that from their own parents, and so on and so on. And there are some stuff that don't want to be transmitted to me. There are some stuff, of course, you cannot tell, like genetics. I'm balding. I inherited that from I don't know even who in my family, because no one is bald. But anyways, I inherited that shit. I cannot tell shit about that, but I don't want to inherit like the narcissism of my mom, of the loser mindset of my aunt, for example. Not okay with that. Just because it's my family doesn't say it's the absolute truth.
Yeah, you need to oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go on.
Yes, it's some sort of you need to have your own thinking of
yeah,
what is wrong, no, what is good, what is bad for you, and
yeah.
Sometimes I find that the parents have bad habits, and
yeah,
sometimes it's hard to not like unconsciously you kind of replicate it because you see it, you
oh
live
yeah,
it.
yeah, of course.
But then it's really hard to break this, and I don't know, for my part, bad habits was kind of a way to try to understand my parents in a kind of way, like consciously take a certain habit, and then I've been doing that sometimes, and it's kind of it's kind of weird, but when taking the bad habit into me, I kind of in a way then I kind of understand now better my parents. It makes us
Makes
love
sense.
them more.
Yeah.
Can I appreciate them more, and then you understand more of them, and you want to do your best to be their best, not their best children, but at least to be what they would like to want.
That's
not in a control way, but yeah.
That's why it could be dangerous too. That's something we call the promise keeper. It's like, hey, dad and mom, I promise to be exactly like how you want.
Yeah.
That nice kid, that nice girl, that nice guy. It's like, I'm probably going to get fired because of that. But for those who had separated parents and got raised by the mom, if you are a guy, your mom as a little kid will tell you, promise me you would never be like your dad. This is unless your dad, unless
I got said that even if I'm a girl.
Unless your dad is an abusive alcoholic loser, this is probably one of the worst things you could say a little child, especially a little boy, because your only masculine model that you know is your dad. And your mom is shattering that picture right now, and you're like, okay, I don't even know what to be. I don't even have any masculine model now.
Yeah.
And generally, you are going the absolute opposite way to your dad. In that example, I don't want to generalize, but in that case, you often tend to be exactly like your mom. Say, promise me you will be a nice boy. And what you don't realize is that in your dad, there was some traits that were attracting for your mom in the first place. And if as you are going the absolute opposite side, basically, you are not attractive. You are not an attractive person at all.
Yeah.
It's not a black and white picture. It's just it's morally gray. There's good and bad, and not everything is good. Not everything is bad, and if you apply that to the T, to the letter, you would end up with something that is absolutely a fucking mess.
Mm.
Because there might be some good stuff with your parent, and if they say, promise me you'll be exactly like that, who the fuck are you to tell me what is being a good person?
Yeah, right. We have our own freedom. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's not to shit on my mom. She did her best, and she genuinely thought it was good for me. But by telling me, promise you will never be like your dad, I was like, okay.
You cannot take promises
And
because you see it kind of happen.
yeah, and now that I'm a bit older and that I worked on myself, on my mind to clean all my shit, especially from that, I realized that on the contrary, I want to be more like my dad on certain points. Not on all of them, but on certain of them. Like, he's super wise. He's like the wisest person I know in my entire life. He's like an old sage living in the mountains alone, like a hermit, ready to give you a quest. So every time I'm stressed, every time I feel bad, I am worried, I just have to have one phone call with him. I know he will be able to dissipate my thoughts. He's very hardworking. He's very, very smart. He's a psychological genius. He has other problems, of course, that I don't want to replicate. But no, I don't want to promise my mom that I will never be like my dad. I want to be like the best version of my dad, the best version of my mom, the best version of my family, but also the best version of myself.
Yeah.
These are just reference. And I if I had followed what my parents told me about how it was in life, I would never do the streams right now. I would never have become an artist. I don't know what I will do right now. But it's like when my mom is telling me, don't invest into crypto, you will lose everything. No. That's your point of view. I respect that. But my point of view is different. And I'm willing to bear the consequences of that, regardless if they are good or bad. That's part of separating from the parents. It's not denying them entirely. It's just secluding the bad parts and protecting yourself from that. This way you can only appreciate the good parts while not being affected by the bad ones. Like the controlling parents, the abusive ones, the ones that are telling you that it's never enough. That's another problem that I got with my mom. For example, it was whatever I was doing, it was never enough. It created the belief that whatever I was doing, it would never be enough. So why even trying? And she's still doing that without even knowing that. Even recently when I was super excited yesterday about my interview. Hello, Cherry Croaks. Welcome. I was telling her about my interview yesterday. I was super excited. And the first thing she said is, I am like St. Thomas. I only believe what I have. So it won't be a victory unless you have a job with that guy. And I was like, shit, that's already a fucking victory. I'm talking to a guy that is waiting $120 million. Are you talking every day to people that are waiting 9 figures? Fuck no. It's already a fucking achievement. And it's very important to be able to protect yourself from this kind of stuff. And that's how you not separate yourself from your parent, but quarantine the bad traits. Don't fight them. Just find a way to protect yourself. Don't wish you can change them. It's probably not possible, in my opinion. We don't change people. We inspire people. But we don't change them. Because they would need to recognize it's a problem for them to change. And it's very hard to be logical with people that are basically interacting entirely emotionally with us. So yeah, just figure out a way to quarantine yourself from that. It's not easy, but that's the safest way. And PT Pro, you will see with the video I'm gonna send you just after that This kind of stuff is called toxic shame.
Toxic shame?
Yeah, Kyo, you know the video I'm talking about. Yeah.
Really good video. Yes.
This is called toxic shame. Toxic shame is that feeling. You have 5 ways about toxic shame. Let me find the. Give me a sec. Let me grab the documents about that. I have it. I cannot share it on screen because it's copyrighted, but I have the document. Where is that? Toxic shame. The first one, oh my god, we are going on a tangent right now, whatever. There are 5 kinds of toxic shame. These are called false core beliefs. The first one is I'm not good enough. So you feel that insecurity, you have zero confidence with yourself, with other people. It might be with women, with guys, with your relationship, with your boss. You're terrified of rejection because rejection affirms your suspicion that you really are unworthy. The second one, so this creates codependency, rage and anger issue, and depression. Because you are feeling bad, wrong, not enough. It's something that is generally developed when you are a child. Maybe parents that rejected you. The main example of that is parents separating. When 2 parents are separating when you are a kid, basically, of course, no one will experience that the same way. But the message is sent you as a kid, when you are a young kid and your parents are separating, is I'm not good enough. Because the 2 parents were the 2 entities that are supposed to love you unconditionally. They are separating. And the first thing you ask yourself is that my fault? Am I responsible for that? Maybe they are separating because of me, because I'm not good enough for them.
I'm not sure about this. I think in a more optimist way, I would think that at some point you were the product of your both parents.
Yeah.
So in a way, I think in a more optimist way, it's like without them we couldn't exist. So it's a bit okay, I've come in here in this world.
Of course.
Yeah.
The problem is that you right now are thinking logically. And I'm totally agree with that. The problem is that when parents are separating, this is a trauma. This is a huge schism and break from that narrative you were describing. Because they don't love each other. So if they don't love each other, the first thing you ask yourself is that my fault? And because they are never giving you the answer, and you will never be sure, even if they tell you, no, it's just because your dad was an asshole or your mom was a BPD nightmare, you don't care. Just because you have that doubt, it can create, I'm not saying it will, but it can create that. And basically, all psychological development is based on evolution. It's 1/4 to 500,000 years. We depend on our parents for survival, so we choose to idealize them. They are strong, they are wise, they are able to take care of us. So basically, so that we feel safe. We also need to feel that they want to take care of us. If they are able to take care of us but don't want to, they could abandon us, or then we die without them. So we need to believe that they want us. And the fact that a parent is not there anymore at home feels like a parent abandoning you. So this parent might not care about you. You see my point?
Yeah, right. So I say, in a way, he's saying what's wrong. What did I did wrong? Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you're just born.
And if we feel, and if we don't feel they want or approve of us, we try to please them. But no matter what we do feel, they don't want us. If they don't want us, we adopt that belief that I'm not good enough. And toxic shame keeps us small. You basically don't do anything to get kicked out of the tribe or get killed by the alpha of the tribe. It serves no purpose in modern society. It was a survival instinct. The second one is where is that? So there is I'm not good enough. The second one is I'm different from other. I don't fit in. I don't belong. So it's like I'm a triangle in a world of circles. The toxic shame number 3 is I can't get what I want. I'm unworthy of it, not allowed, incapable of getting it. This is imposter syndrome. Tied generally to I'm not good enough. The next toxic shame is trapped anger or resentment. This is rage over something bad that happened to you. It may be abuse, injustice, betrayal, abandonment, something like that. This is this kind of sitting anger that you might have for years about something that happened to you when you were a kid. And the last one is I feel unsafe. It might be the fear of losing a job, can't pay the bills, the other people are dangerous and will hurt me. You might fear that everything will fall apart, that a disaster is right around the corner, something like that. And once you understand this kind of stuff, you can understand the consequences of that. Anxiety or procrastination. Basically, it's anxiety or procrastination is basically caused by the I'm not safe. So why even try if I'm gonna burn myself? I'm not good enough, so why even try? I don't fit in or I don't belong, so why even try? Why even go into that social meeting if I don't fit? I can't get what I want, so why even try? This is anxiety or procrastination. Depression, loneliness, insecurity, validation seeking, codependency, despair, stuff like that. It's I'm not good enough, so I'm trying to please someone desperately to fill a void that I cannot fill. I don't fit in or I don't belong, so I'm trying to please someone to compensate for that. Or I can't get what I want, so I have to cheat and trick people into believing I'm someone that I'm not. And persistent anger, bitterness, resentment, or rage. It's basically trapped anger. So you're basically drinking the poison other people will, hoping the other people will die. See my point?
This is toxic shame. Is that toxic shame?
It's a part of... There are 3 types of toxic shame. The I don't fit in, I'm not worthy, or... let me get back to that. I'm not I'm not good enough, I don't fit in, I can't get what I want. These are the 3 toxic shame. And the other false beliefs is I'm not safe and trapped anger or resentment. We all have a bit of them. It just needs to remain manageable, and some of them are higher than others. I'll give you examples. For example, recently with the COVID stuff and the situation, I was following that way too closely for my own sanity. And I was really starting to think that the world was going to shit. So there was this I'm not safe environment. I was already like looking at houses in the middle of nowhere to potentially leave my apartment and stuff like that. I was like, I'm gonna have to drop everything that I have at some point because something apocalyptic will come. I cleaned that and it's better now. The I'm not good enough is basically imposter syndrome in a nutshell. We're on a fucking tangent tonight.
Nearly 2 hours, yeah.
Woo.
We're always talking about happy stuff.
Always.
Anyways. Oh yeah. I will check out the subject. I will write them. Give me a sec. I'm gonna write them before they disappear. So we had procrastination, productivity, storytelling, telling a story, there you go. I promise that tomorrow we are talking about something nice, something cheerful and happy.
No more promise.
We are not going to face our demons tomorrow. Anyways, I'm gonna stop the stream for tonight, I guess. For those watching on YouTube, you know the jazz. Thank you. Thank you for coming. If you're on YouTube, you know the jazz. Feel free to subscribe, join us on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch and subscribe if you have the financial means to do so. If you want to support my work, there is a tip jar. You can book some consults with me if you want to talk about whatever you think I might fit in. I'm not going to describe everything, but mainly environment, portfolio, career. If you need some kicks in the ass, artistically speaking, I can be your man too. Join your Discord. We are building a fantastic community with way more people today. Thank you for all the newcomers today. Let's have a list to thank them properly. Jerry Crow X, Jempol G, Eddie, of course. Thank you so much for joining today. See you on the Discord, guys. See you tomorrow. And yeah, tomorrow we're probably going to talk about storytelling. How to tell a compelling story. I'm gonna do my best to not make it let's face our demons and cry in stream again. Anyways, take care, folks. See you tomorrow.